Okay, we are entering into the last segment of this randomly constructed game in the American Revolution. We have some interesting situations because of the fact that the units are placed in random order around the perimeter in groups. There is a couple of situations that we'll discuss, we'll highlight. Uh, Number one is let's assume that the um, Americans get the initiative. They really do need it because this unit here that's in this forest is hasn't turned around. It is still facing this way. If the British um, get the initiative, then they will be able to move before this unit, and they will contact it in the rear. Excuse me, and they will route it automatically. However, when I did move this unit to the forest, I was allowed to move it, to turn it uh, all the way around. Excuse me, there was no reason why I had to leave it like this. So to be fair, if I was another player, the judge would have said, you know, you can turn that unit around. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be fair and say, yeah, we're turning it around. So they could still contact this unit, which has 2 red hits on it. It will easily, well, more than likely route it. Um, so at the end of the melee, so it's a precarious situation. If the Americans get the initiative, they'll be able to withdraw that unit, probably somewhere away from this situation. They'll maybe give up the forest, but the fact is that that's better than having a unit lost and destroyed. The other situation is here that the Americans are now coming down on the flank of the British. The British player has to understand what's more important, that I collect my forces and stay intact, or do I just onesie-twosies deal with these situations? For instance, turn this unit to face this and be fired on a flank. So that's a precarious situation. Now the artillery piece is set down. They can easily respond to fire over here, which they haven't done yet, and I believe that's because the turn ended. That is not true. They fired. Oh, they fired here. That's why. And again, because this is a demo, remember units that have fired. We should be doing that. So if the Americans gain the initiative, they can withdraw this unit. They can collect their forces over here. They can set down. They can move and set down here with this unit, perhaps in the forest, which would then be able to fire. And they would have a kind of a line here, but they might be threatened by the troops of the British moving here. Although they have the artillery in the front, the artillery could easily just move here and set down, firing next turn while the infantry comes up and forms next to them. So over here we have this Hessian unit for the British facing off against these Americans. If the Americans get the initiative, they'll get behind this fence. Okay, that's fine. That's good cover. Otherwise, if they don't get the initiative, these guys will fire. Will get another automatic hit of the one they've already got. So they'll have 2 red hits on this unit, which is not good. So the commander is going to have to come and hopefully help that unit become stable. But we shall certainly see how this is going to happen in the next initiative die roll, which is happening right now. So this is going to be the roll. Oops, D10. Did I use the phone for the die roll? I think I did. So this will be okay. So here we go. We're going to roll for the Americans first. They failed. Roll for the British. They failed. Roll for the Americans. They failed. Roll for the British. They failed. Roll for the Americans. They passed. Roll for the British. They failed. So the Americans won the initiative. What were we rolling on? We were rolling on their initiative value. The Americans were a 6, they rolled a 7. The British were a 7, they rolled a 7. The rules are for initiative, you have to roll higher than the value. So the Americans got the initiative, which is good. And we will continue now to see what happens. If they were going to win the initiative, Commander could move and help this unit out. The commander could stay where he is and give that artillery a +1. This unit is already in the cover, so it has a bonus, at least defensively. I think I'm going to leave the commander there because there's no reason to take the risk of him being shot. So American first unit is this one. He'll not do anything. The sequence remains the same. Which is to say he'll just fire. So, and I assume, well, the British will determine what they're doing after. Okay, so this automatic color, code and color because of the damage. So they need a CNC, and therein lies their reason for putting the commander there, to reduce that chance or to increase that chance. So they need CNC to cause a damage to that British unit. And they don't quickly. It's 1 in 6 chance. Let's just take the British firing back. Automatic color code. And that's it. So they need a red to hit, and they do. And is it incremental? Yes. It's just an incremental hit. Not only because of the range, but because of the cover. So it's not good. The Americans are kind of being chewed up. Okay, so he's fired, which is this unit. He's already fired because in this era, they're not rifled muskets. They're only going to fire once. But it doesn't say he can't move. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and say he does. Get into melee. And as a matter of fact, this artillery is going to turn itself with the commander's presence, and that artillery is going to fire. This unit is going to move into here and face the artillery will fire automatic color 2, 3 automatic because of the commander. It's a howitzer, so it ignores the defense line. Whatever cover you want to call that, we don't care what it it just is cover. But that would be for direct fire, not for a howitzer. So is that a red hit? I believe it is. Okay. Unit number 2. This one here. It could move to help these guys in the melee, which I think is probably the right thing to do. 1, 2, and 3. Let's leave our stand behind. We'll do a facing, but it doesn't make any difference. And should we put the commander? Nope. Leave the commander where he is. The artillery will fire to this unit. Automatic, color, I think, 1, 2, and 3. It looks like it's going to be code, but the commander brings it back to color. No other mod. It is a howitzer. Make a double check because that's a miss. Automatic, color, code, back to color because of the commander. It's a miss. Okay. British second unit is up there. That's it for the American second. So here we are. The British unit moves and sets down as soon as it can. Take away the move plate. Choose a proper hex. I think I'll allow that. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. I know it's a little bit of a fudging because of the fact that both the Limbers presence and the hexagons aren't exactly right, because remember, these were, which is to say, I'm sorry, these are foamies, roads, but their location, the way they were laid out, did not follow the hexagons. So we have to kind of judge where the units are going to be. And so therefore, let us say that these guys are actually right there, because that makes the most sense. Okay. That's the British second. Okay, so these guys haven't moved yet. No firing there from the artillery, but the gun can. No officer. Automatic, color, code. No other modifier, red. It's a miss. Okay, so that was the number 3. So number 3 is this guy here. So he will order to move, of course. What he'll do is he'll move here and set down. And this unit here, this is a precarious situation that we talked about. What happens here? Are we more afraid of this or more afraid of this? I think what will happen is they could just move across the river and set down. And then these guys could go 1, 2, and 3 and be far enough away. Let's try that kind of concept, because that might be helpful. And 2 and 3 right here, like so. That's interesting. So the Americans will fire 1, 2, automatic, 3, 4, color, 5 is code, no other modifier, yes. Goes to CNC because of the damage on the unit. Recount, automatic, color, code, CNC, I need a star. Didn't get it. That's it. Oh, except for this, British number 3. Actually, that was a mistake. That should have been, I forgot to move that unit. So they should have moved. So you see, this is why we do this, to show, oh, made a mistake. How do you deal with that? Well, just do it. Do the thing that's the right thing. Now, turn number 3, or activation number 3. Take these guys. Well, let's keep them all in cover. They're going to fire automatic, color, code, no other modifier. So red. And they get it. But they are undercover, so that's going to go to an incremental hit. Is it because of the range also? It's not point blank, so it's incremental. We've already, sorry, I believe I may have been misstating how the process works here. The damage isn't reduced because of the cover. The damage is reduced because that's the range. Modifier for being undercover is taken up in the die roll, not a reduction in the hit value. They hit damage. Okay, so they did get an incremental hit. And these guys being number 2 should have been able to fire, which they obviously, we forgot to do that. So when they moved, they should have been able to fire. So automatic, color, code, and with the one red hit, it goes to CNC. So the Americans are kind of losing out here. They're getting bad die rolls, but they're also having a little bit of hits. These guys are in cover. So that's it then. We're done. Interesting. So the guns will be set down. These guns are set down. So they'll be able to fire. That's very close firing. So the way this happens is the value of the unit and the value of the unit. Well, units here. Let's take these away. Okay. So let's do the primary engagement first. It's a 3 versus 3, 2, 1 because of the damage. That's a superiority of 2. So these are the greater value unit. It's a simple die roll. This will be for the British. They rolled, it's drunk. They rolled blue. So they both roll blue. They both cause an incremental hit, but the British, being 2 superior, cause extra incremental, which routes this unit. So 1, 2, 3, unit is routed. Take the hit markers off. Mark it as routed. Unit rolls to advance, but that may be a bad thing because it'll be flanked. And red does it, so it advances, and it is now flanked. So, unfortunately, that's exactly the way it should happen here, and that's not good. So, this melee continues. He has 0 value. He has a value of 3. So, he'll just roll, I guess. It rolls blue, which causes an incremental, but it's a flank. So it's doubled. So it goes to 2 incrementals, and he's superior by 1, 2, and 3 incremental hits. So that is a red and 2 incremental hits. Yes. A red and 2 incremental hits, which added to that one makes 2 red hits. So interesting. The unit is not routed. It's just flanked, and it's severely damaged. And it's in melee. So yes, that move turned out to not be very good. It did rout that unit, but now it's going to be routed in turn. Okay, so very interesting. you can see how this is going to progress. Very interesting.